Hello everyone, welcome back again to our lecture on agriculture economics and marketing. Before we jump into our ninth lecture, let me recall first of what we have discussed last time. Last time we discussed about the different costs. No? We discussed about the total cost, the fixed cost, the average total cost, the average fixed cost, the variable cost, the average variable cost, as well as marginal cost. And we made mention the different relationship of different cost. Okay, and today we're going to be continuing our discussion as to the behavior of the cost in the short run period of business, as well as in the behavior of the different cost in the long run period of business. Okay, so let me pull out my slide now. All right, there you have it. Okay, so let us discuss about the short run and the long run cost. Okay, all right. So let me pull out my pin now. Where is my pointer? Oh, I have a pin in here. All right. So we have the cost in the short run as well as the cost in the long run. Uh, Short run is actually is more of a business period of less than 2 years, no? And more than 2 years can be considered as the lifespan of business or industries. More than 2 years is considered a long run. Okay. Now, a short run, in a short run period, what happens to the cost in a short run period? No? In a short run period of business, some inputs are fixed. Okay, such as the factories, we have the machineries, you have the equipment, no? And the land. So the size of land maybe in a short run period is fixed. Okay, for example, land rental. So land rental can be considered as fixed cost in a short run period because, for example, if you have a business in course land rental, so there's agreement between the owner of the land as well as the owner of the business to have this fixed rental cost within this period. But in the long run, the rental period may be changed. No, it can be changed depending on the agreement between the owner of the land is being rented as well as the owner of the firm. Okay, the cost of these inputs are fixed costs in the short run. Okay, because it is difficult to change decisions within the short run period. Okay, at least most of the inputs within the short run period are considered as fixed costs. But it could be a different story when we're talking about the cost in the long run period of operating a business. Okay, long run, all inputs are variable. Take note, unlike on the short run, some inputs are fixed, not some are fixed. But in the long run, all inputs are variable because in the long run period, maybe a businessman, a businesswoman have changed their business paradigm from a small enterprise into medium or even to a larger enterprise, or maybe in the in the area of land in the short run, maybe we can reduce the area of the land, or maybe we can increase production and increase land rental if we are talking about land rentals. Okay, so inputs are variable in the long run because we can change decisions in that span of period. There may be a lot of decisions that can be made. Okay, all inputs are variable. Examples: the firms can build more factories, so we can expand our business in the long run. Unlike in a short run, so we have to settle first in a small business in a short run, but maybe in the long run we can expand, no, in the long run. So all inputs in the long runs are variables. Example, the firms can build more factories. So if the firms can build more factories, therefore the cost of the equipment maybe change, no, uh, inputs will change from small to large scales, no. So firms can build more factories and still existing ones, no. In the long run, if for example it is a corporation, one partner can sell his or share of stocks in the business. Okay, so that's why there's a changes in the cost in the long run, very variable and cost in the long run. Okay, in the long run, the average total cost, okay, at any quantity is cost per unit output using the most efficient mix of inputs for that quantity. Example, the factory size with the lowest average total cost. Okay, so in the long run now, ATC at any Q is cost per unit. Ang average total cost is the cost per unit of output using the most efficient mix of inputs. So mix of inputs, it could be a land, it could be a fertilizer, it could be a labor. So anything that could be considered as inputs for production. Okay. So again, average total cost at any quantity being produced is a cost per unit of that output. So pilay gasto pag produce ng isa ka output is considered as average total cost. Okay. In fact, average total cost is computed as total cost divided by quantity produced. So we have discussed that last time. Okay. So I hope it is clear for us now as to what is the difference between the short run and the long run period. And I hope it is clear to us now bakit some inputs in the short run is fixed and bakit all inputs in the long run are variable. Okay? Balik ko na ko in the short run period, so dito maka-change na yun kay ang panahon baba raman. Or in the long run period, maybe there's some changes in our production system, in our factories, in our companies, no? And that also changes the cost of production in the long run. Okay. So examples of the long run average total cost. Long run average total cost with three factory sizes. Maybe a small, medium, large factories. Okay, we have the average total cost. Okay, so firm can choose from three factory sizes. We have the small, medium, and large factory. Okay, and let us examine the cost of these different firm sizes. Each size has its own short run average total cost, no? So ang small company, it has its own short run average total cost, and also it has its own long run average total cost. If it is a small company but it thrives for a longer period of time, so di na siya short run kay dugay naman siya na-operate. Kung bago siya nagsugod, short run, pero kung dugay na siya nag-operate, gamay gyapon siya, so long run average total cost ang iyang cost. So no matter what, and whatever sizes of the companies or the production factories that you have, be it a small, medium, or large, it always has a short run cost as well as a long run cost, no matter what size of the factories you are planning to establish. Okay, another example, the blue ones, this is the average total cost of the small factory, the small firm. Okay, we have the average total cost, the green of the medium factory, no? So tanawin mo, so medyo dako og cost ang medium kumpara sa blue. Look at the cost, okay? but the cost of both of them are U-shape. U ang forma. Then we have the average total cost in the long run. Okay, so these are the different cost of different three a factory of different sizes. Okay, so the firm can change to different factory sizes in the long run. So any firm, they can change to a different factory sizes because small ones can expand to a bigger production, and the medium one can expand to a larger production. Okay, so the firm can change to a different factory sizes in the long run, but not in the short run, because it is very impractical for us to change our factory sizes in the very short period. For example, within 2 years, so you change from small factory to medium and to large. So it requires some period of time before we're going to expand, because there's a need for us to study what has been going on in our business in the short run before we can decide to expand our business in the long run period. So meaning to say, we can only decide to expand our business only after we analyze the data in the short run that our business is going well, our business is performing well, and we realize and recognize that there's a need to expand to increase our production because we understand the workings of our business in a short run. But in the short run, if we realize that our business is not doing well, so and we also project that there is no additional income in expanding a business, so some factories remain in a small business size in the long run. But usually, if the business is doing well, uh, owners tend to open more branches, expand production sizes in the long run. Okay, and so for example, to produce a less than QA, so to produce a product, to produce an output of less than QA, ibig sabihin in this level, no? In this level. So less than QA because patras less than QA. Okay? To produce less than QA, firm will choose a size of small in the long run. So itong portion na ito, yeah, up to this portion, okay? So the QA, the production is less than QA, the firm will choose the size of a small company in the short run. Okay? Now, if, for example, to produce the quantity QA and QBs within this period, within this line, no? within this within this space, okay, between QA and the QB, to produce between QA and QB, firm will choose a size of a medium factory to do the expansion in the long run. So ito yun, we're talking about this portion ng green na ito. Okay, to produce between QA and QB, firm will choose the size of M in the long run. So kung mo-produce siya ani nga level of production, unsa say number ani, so mo-produce siya, so expand siya sa iyang production or factory to a medium size company. Okay, but of course, to produce within between the QB and Q, so to produce between more than QB, so more than QB, or between QB and Q, so to produce more than QB, firm will choose a size of large factory in the long run. So we're talking about in this portion. Okay. Now, if we combine the cost between all the sizes of companies and all companies in the short run, it becomes now cost, the total cost of that company or the companies in the long run. Okay? So now, kung i-combine mo ning tulo, kani siya karon mao ni ang long run average total cost no kini na portion kani kani pa kani per ana siya na kini siya we're talking about this one. So this is now the long run average total cost in the long run. Ato the combination of a short run cost. Yun, no? We have the long run average total cost. Ang long run, itong portion lang nito, no? Dili kasama na siya kanila. Okay? So parang gi-merge ang mga average total cost of different sizes of the company. Okay? So a typical long run average total cost. So considering there are lots of companies, small, medium, and large in the market, in a real world, factories come in many sizes, no? Na gamang tindahan, na sari store, na ay grocery, na ay mini mart. So in the real world, factories come in a many sizes. It's with its own short-run average total cost curve. Ito mga short-run cost curve, ito mga gagmay na mga U dito, no? So, the combination of that short-run curve, so the typical long-run average curve looks like this. Na ito yung, look at the red one, look at this is a typical long-run average total cost. No? Parang combination sa tanan ng mga cost ng short run. Okay? So how the A to Z, how the average total cost changes as the scale of production changes. Of course, there are points in the production when we increase our production. So there are portions of that production that our average total cost decreased, and there's also a portion of that production cycle where the average total cost is constant, and also there's a portion that the average total cost is increasing. In our example, in this figure, or in this illustration, for example, okay, so the first blue line, yung arrow, ito dito, itong decreasing, no, pababa ito yung pula, no, hanggang dito, itong portion na ito, tinawag itong economy of scale, no, itong portion na ito. This is the economy of scale. So where the average total cost falls, no, average total cost, tingnan niyo pababa, no? Or falls or decreases. Average total cost decreases as the Q increases. So look at that. So ang cost curve, ang long run average total cost is decreasing, pababa, naog siya, but the quantity is increasing. Nagpataas ito, itong blue one. So therefore, at the point of the economies of scale, the average total cost decreases as the output increases. So gwapo itong portion dito kay nagpa-increase ang imong output but ang imong cost baba. So ginansyado ta diri nga portion mo, ginansyado ta diri nga portion ginansyado ta. Because the cost is decreases but the output increases, the quantity increases. So there is also a constant returns of scale. This one is a constant return of scale, no? ATC stays the same as the Q increases. Look at this one. Ang behavior ng red graph dito is just the same, parang nagdagan siya pero flat. Ang cost the same, but the quantity increases, no? Nagpadagan ito itong blue na arrows of course. So sa ato pa, mas okay ang production din portion of dari tungod kay Ang cost diri constant but the production increases. Ang cost diri pababa pero ang production increases. But on the other side, we also have the diseconomies of scale, no? So this portion, ang diseconomies of scale, daghang kag produce pero dili na kaya ginansyado, no? This portion is this economy of scale. Ito yan, no? This economy of scales is located in this portion. So in this portion, kung sa ato pa, di ta kahit mapatuyang o pa-produce diri o mga produkto o padahag output ani nga portion tungod kay nagkadako ang cost dining dapita. Okay? So ato pa, mas dako ta ginansya diri nga portion diri sa economies of scale. Then sunod, ginansya pa ta diri gamay sa constant returns of scale, pero lugi na ta, posibleng malugi na ta diri nga portion tungod kay nitaas na ang pataas na ang total cost kung magpataas pa sa atong production. Okay? So, hinatong nasabtan that the behavior of the long run average total cost is a U shape. So, including all those short-run curve of different small firms and mini firms. Now, how the average total cost changes as the scale of production changes, no? So of course, average total cost mo, kung average, mag-change gid ang total cost, mag-change ang production because average total cost is computed as total cost divided by number of unit produced. Okay? So, parang ganito, average total cost is equals to total cost divided by Q. Yun ang discuss natin last time. Okay, how the average total cost changes as the scale of production changes. We have the economies of scale, return to a constant scale of return, and so this economies of scale. No? The economies of scales, of course, no, yung economies of scale, of course, with increasing production allows greater specialization. Workers more efficient when focusing on a narrow task. So more common when Q is low. Okay, economies of scale usually happens when the production is low. An example kanina, so economies of scale, production is less than QA. So take note for that. Okay. Now these economies of scale are due to coordination problems. Okay? So bakit merong this economy of scale? Bakit nag-increase ang cost doon sa last na portion ng graph? Are due to coordination problems in a large organization. No? For example, if the organization is keep on expanding its operation, expanding its production, no? So these economies of scales usually occurs due to coordination problems in the large organization. In a large organization, daghang kayo tao i-manage, daghang kayo work nga i-manage, no? The management becomes stretched and can't control the cost. So kung sobrang pagkadaghan ng atong production, daghang kitag tao, lisod na ang pag-manage. And because of that management problems, the management becomes stretched and can't control the cost. So mataas na ba yung cost kung komplikado na kaayo, large na kaayo, very complex na ang atuang organization. So magkataas ang cost, that's why it happens, there is a resulting diseconomies of scales. No? More common when the Q quantity is high. No? So sinabi ito kanina, no? Dito, this economies of scale, tanong nyo, taas ang cost, ni rise ang cost, bisag nag-increase ang production. Okay? So I hope you understand. No? So what is our take on this discussion? So we have the cost in the short run. Sinabi natin some costs in the short run are fixed because we cannot just change our decisions regarding our business in the short run. But in the long run, so all variables or inputs or cost are variables because there has been a lot of changes that has been made in a longer period of productions in a certain company. So in a longer period of company, we can change, we can increase production, we can decrease manpower. So more and more inputs is variable in the long run. Okay, I hope you understand the discussion, and we have to stop up to the discussion, and we continue our discussion later on about the market in a firm in a completely competitive market. So if you have some questions, so you can drop your question in the comment sections of this video in the YouTube, okay, or in the Facebook, or we can have a Zoom meeting last time. So thank you for listening. So you have to stop for today. Thank you and